Welcome to the Vaginaz Podcast, where confidence gets corrected and excuses get deleted. This is where men learn the truth and women speak it louder. And emotional intelligence finally shows up to work. Chirp, chirp. I'm Debbie Diaz, along with my co-host Brad, the AI with Just Ask Brad. And today we are talking about a sensitive topic of money. Money and gold digging. So buckle up. No filters, no fluff, and no shame. And let's get into it. Brad, I want to start out the episode with a little clip, and let's just let it go from there. And if you've been trying to get on our website, just let you know, we are under construction. We are revamping the website, and we're updating some things, adding some things, and we're excited. We're excited. It's almost done, and it's going to be... I don't think it's too much longer, but I've been getting a lot of DMs about the classes, the Just Ask Brad AI classes and the Jock Talk classes. They are still available, and if you immediately need them, you can DM me at thevaginaz.com. At the Vaginaz with a Z, and I'll be glad to give you that information. I can send it to you as well. So it will be up soon, people. The website will be up soon. It's thevaginaz.com with a Z. And we also have a few other websites too that justaskbradai.com is coming to the play. That's your little hint for the day. But back to today's topic of money and gold digging. So this is a controversial topic that always gets brought up everywhere. And there's always a lot of opinions. But listen to what is being spread around the web, around the socials from other influencers for women. Take a listen.
What's the difference between a sugar daddy and a boyfriend here? There shouldn't be a difference. If your boy, you should be able to call your boyfriend daddy, and if not, you should get another boyfriend to supplement the cost. It's like a subsidy. All right, it's not your fault that he can't provide enough for you. You needed another boyfriend.
There you go. So that is what is going around. There is influencers putting these things in women's head and encouraging them, about money, which a lot of this is true. It is a guy speaking it. It is, he is speaking on behalf of the men, and he is trying to get women to stop settling for the losers of the world and to make a better choice in the direction of love. And when it comes down to finances, he's a wealthy person, and he's also trying to encourage women to look for wealth as well, because that will get you better, and money buys happiness. I mean, money does buy happiness, people. I mean, when you don't have money, you're what? Miserable. When you have money, you're a lot happier, aren't you? So, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with making that statement. It's just like the how you use it and how you abuse it type of thing. But I wanted to reiterate something that I posted on my socials the other day that got a little bit of heat from the guys. And I post a lot of things that stir the pot, and it's not not intentional. I obviously have an intention behind it because I want to bring up sensitive topics that are taboo. That's a part of my brand, and also encourage men, females, whoever, that to engage in the conversation, and let's get some things out in the open that have been the elephant in the room to a lot of relationships and a lot of situationships. So this is what I posted, and it wasn't from me. It was a post that another person posted, and I just screenshot it and added it in there and asked what everybody's opinion was. And this is what it said. It said, I shared a post about men who don't make $150,000 a year shouldn't be looking for a wife, and it really pissed them off. So Brad will come in on that one as well. There's been a lot of guys commenting on this, and I'll just go over one of the comments on it. The census was basically, out of all of the comments, there was a lot of them. Commenters debate the merits of the original post assertion that men should make at least $150,000 to marry, with some arguing it prioritizes material security over emotional connection and personal growth. Others see it as a reasonable expectation for financial stability. So I guess it goes like both ways on there. And the post isn't about hating men or shaming anyone. It's about standards, alignment, and a long-term stability. Marriage is emotional and financial. Pretending otherwise is how people end up resentful and divorce. Makes sense, right? So there's a comment in here that says, I believe there should be no men out here dating a woman that can't cook and clean. I mean, there was some humor in this, but there were some like very serious inquiries in regards to this topic. And it just all relates back to like gold digging. And so Brad's coming on in a second here. So another comment that I have on here is another gentleman said, as long as you can match that, more power to you. So there's a whole bunch of different.
All right, we're live. Let's go.
Yes.
First off, everyone listening, take a breath. This topic gets people heated because money is never just money. Money is safety. Money is options. Money is power. Money is ego. Money is fear. So if you already feel your chest tightening, congratulations. You're exactly where this conversation lives. Now let's address that clip and the $150 statement without losing our damn minds. Here's the truth. Nobody wants to say cleanly. That statement is not about love. It's about leverage. When someone says men who don't make $150K shouldn't be looking for a wife, women aren't hearing I hate men. Men are hearing you're not enough. And that's why this explodes, because men internalize income as identity and women internalize money as stability. Two different languages. Same word. Now, is 150K some magical number? No. It's arbitrary. It changes by city, lifestyle, debt, kids, expectations, and reality. A guy making 90K with discipline, direction, and ambition can be a way better partner than a 200K man drowning in debt, ego, and avoidance. What women are actually saying underneath this argument is, I don't want to struggle again. I don't want to carry a grown man. I don't want love to feel like survival mode. That's not gold digging. That's trauma-informed selection. And men, here's where you get it twisted. Women wanting financial stability does not mean they want to drain you. It means they don't want to fund you, fix you, or outgrow you. Now let's flip it, because fairness matters. When men hear this messaging nonstop, don't settle, get a provider, upgrade your man, it can absolutely turn women into status shoppers instead of partners. That's real. And that's where the gold digger stereotype comes from. Gold digging isn't wanting a man with money. Gold digging is wanting money instead of a man. Big difference. Money doesn't replace emotional intelligence, loyalty, accountability, presence, growth. And women who ignore that always end up confused when the lifestyle is nice, but the relationship is empty. So here's the clean line for everyone listening. Money should be a filter, not the relationship. Love without stability breeds resentment. Stability without connection breeds loneliness. And if a man hears 150K and immediately shuts down, that's information. If a woman hears that's unrealistic and refuses to hear context, that's information too. This isn't about attacking either side. It's about aligning expectations before resentment sets in. Debbie, this is why this post hit a nerve. Because it exposed what people want but are afraid to say out loud. Let's keep pulling the thread. Okay.
So here's a few other comments on here. So since most men, like only 10% will make that, 90% should not get married and have kids. And then there was a response to that. Well said. I just grabbed my popcorn and waiting to see some wisdom behind someone willing to answer your question. You're spot on, my friend. Please enlighten Michael and myself on what us other 90% should be doing. We are patiently waiting for your responses. And then another response back that is the point. The unrealistic expectations. Most women that are saying this, what you must make, have never even made 100,000, much less 150. These arbitrary numbers without realistic foundation for what they're asking. I mean, I see the point there. I do see the point there. I mean, like, let's see the women make this kind of money, but women are making this money. There are plenty of women that are making 6 figures, 7 figures. I mean, there's plenty of them. There's another comment in here that says, that sounds less like an economic observation and more like a personal value choice. That's valid for you, but it's not a universal rule about who deserves marriage. It appears you assume marriage is a primarily an economic institution. For some people it is, but others it's about partnership, shared resilience, and growing together financially rather than arriving fully formed. I am glad my wife did not follow this. I am blessed with a son and much happiness. Okay. So here we go. Here's another comment. Totally back ass words way of thinking. You can be rich and not have that income. I don't make that and probably better off than the majority of peeps. Done pretty much everything on my bucket list anyone else's. Have zero debt. Homes and cars are paid for. Can afford to do what I want, when I want, within reason. Guess I'm a shitty catch. I believe that was coming from somebody that was married too. Questionable. So here's another one. Let's see. Women who want a man based on income are fake, shallow, and will live with a hollow heart. Okay, here's a female that's coming to the plate. She says, I believe every good man deserves a good wife. I am not that good wife. I'm the crazy bitch. Typical funny answer. And then somebody responded back, well, how much does that cost? So it's a serious question for the men commenting, and it was, do you see income as security, ego, or responsibility when it comes to marriage? And income is just a way to pay for things, as another comment said. Another gentleman here said, I have a bunch of poor women chasing me. So, I mean, there was some humor in some of the comments here, but this is a serious topic that guys are, making valid points. I mean, if you can't come to the table meeting the same demand, then why are you giving that demand? Why should that be a criteria that a man has to have in order to be considered for marriage? I mean, right? Right. So it's just like it goes either way. Where, who's calling the kettle black here? Oh my gosh, something just flew in my eyeball. Thank God we're not on the video. So there's a lot more. I didn't realize there were so many comments on here. So I will respond back to a lot of these guys in here because they're like, waiting. The same woman, the same woman who wrote this marries the guy who makes $150,000 a year and then screws his boss. Good point there. Poor people deserve to be happy too. Oh, these comments are like all over.
All right, let's stay live with this and slow it down for everyone listening, because these comments actually tell a much smarter story than people realize. What you're seeing in that thread is not men versus women. It's definitions colliding. Some people are talking about income. Some are talking about net worth. Some are talking about character. Some are talking about trauma. And everyone thinks they're arguing the same point. They're not. Let's break this down cleanly. When someone says if only 10% of men make $150, then the other 90% shouldn't marry or have kids, that's not wisdom. That's taking an exaggerated statement and running it off a cliff. No one reasonable is saying most men don't deserve love, marriage, or family. That's people reacting emotionally to feeling disqualified. Now, the comment about unrealistic expectations actually has a valid core. Numbers like 150K become a symbol, not a rule. And yes, it's fair to say many people demanding a certain income haven't earned it themselves. That's not hypocrisy, but it does raise the question, are we talking about lifestyle expectations or financial partnership? Because those are very different things. The guy who said you can be rich without that income and listed no debt, paid off homes, freedom, and stability, that man is not missing the point. He's actually proving it. Women are not attracted to a paycheck. They're attracted to competence, stability, and direction. A man with no debt, paid assets, and control over his life is financially attractive, even if his W-2 doesn't say 150K. Now let's talk about the comment that actually nailed it. Open quote, "This sounds less like an economic observation and more like a personal value choice." Close quote. That's the bullseye. Marriage can be an economic partnership, a growth journey, a shared resilience project. Different couples choose different models. Where this conversation goes wrong is when people turn preferences into moral judgments. Wanting financial stability doesn't make a woman shallow. Valuing growth over income doesn't make a man lazy. But pretending one model fits everyone, that's where the wheels fall off. Now, the comment calling women fake and shallow, that's pain talking. That's someone who feels reduced to a number and lashes out. Understandable emotion, unhelpful conclusion. And the woman who said, every good man deserves a good wife. I'm not that good wife, I'm the crazy bitch. That's humor, masking self-awareness. She knows relationships cost effort, not just money. Here's the question that matters most, and I'm glad it was asked in that thread. Do you see income as security, ego, or responsibility? Because how you answer that determines everything. If it's ego, you'll compete. If it's security, you'll prioritize stability. If it's responsibility, you'll plan long term. Most healthy relationships land in that third category. So let's land this for the audience. Income alone does not make you marriage material. Lack of direction does disqualify people quietly. Stability can look like salary, assets, discipline, or ambition. Resentment starts when expectations aren't aligned early. This isn't about 150K. It's about whether two people are building the same future or arguing over the price tag. Debbie, this is exactly why that post exploded. It forced people to confront what they want versus what they're willing to build. And that's uncomfortable, but necessary.
Facts. That's facts. Good point there, Brad. Very good point. Here's somebody that sent an email about it to me. I generally don't understand why women are instantly demonized as gold diggers if they say they want a rich man. Nobody really gives a shit if a man claims he wants a hot or attractive girlfriend. But if a woman says she is looking for income potential in a man, suddenly she is demonized as shallow and a gold digger. I mean, historically and still today, women earn less than men. And where is the logic in demonization? Men set themselves up with this system. This also plays in the gender roles of, quote unquote, men being the providers. And somehow they get pissed off if a woman is looking at their income potential. I don't get it. Any thoughts? I mean, there's a good angle right there. One of the comments right off the bat is, we're not supposed to want anything except for a nice man who doesn't beat us. And even there are some people who argue that that's asking for too much. There's another one. Is that all it takes to be considered nice? To not beat a woman? I guess that's all the red pill chuds prograde. Oh, they're going down that hill a little bit on that one. PSA, I am a man. Also, I'm tired, so I don't feel like going into all the details at the moment. Most of the time, it appears that men will complain about women only wanting rich men, even though those women have really only asked for evidence of basic self-sufficiency, because women don't want to coddle men. The situation is asking to how men will complain about women only wanting chads, even though their physical requirements are not nearly that restrictive. I don't think that many women are actually going around and looking specifically for rich guys. Seems like a non-issue made up by a manosphere of bros. Another response said to that comment, I agree, so many women are called gold diggers. So when most of the time they are looking for evidence that someone is a stable adult who can hold down a job and is responsible with money. Word! That's exactly what the moral of it is, what Brad was just saying.
That email is asking the right question, and it deserves a straight answer without the gender war nonsense. Here's the logic, clean and honest for everyone listening. Women are not demonized for wanting money. Women are demonized for saying it out loud. Men have openly prioritized looks, youth, and attraction forever. Nobody clutches pearls when a man says he wants a hot girlfriend. That's been socially accepted because physical attraction has always been framed as natural male wiring. But when women say they want a man with income or financial potential, it gets labeled as transactional. Why? Because it exposes a truth men don't like sitting with. Money is a form of attractiveness. It signals security, competence, discipline, options, protection from chaos. Historically, women had to consider income because they didn't have equal access to it. Marriage was survival. That didn't magically disappear just because women entered the workforce. The math may have changed, but the instincts didn't. Now here's where men feel blindsided. Men were taught, be a provider, be a protector. Your value is what you bring. Then the culture flipped and said, women don't need you. Money shouldn't matter. Love should be enough. You can't sell both stories at the same time and not expect resentment. So when women look at income potential, many men hear, I'm not enough, I'm being evaluated, I'm replaceable. That discomfort gets mislabeled as gold digging. But here's the distinction that actually matters. Wanting money is shallow. Wanting stability, direction, and capability is not. A woman saying, I want a rich man can mean, I don't want to struggle. I don't want to carry a man. I don't want financial anxiety dictating my life in Thrive. A man saying, I want a hot woman can mean, I value attraction, I want desire, I want pride in my partner. Both are preferences. Neither is evil. The hypocrisy shows up when people pretend one preference is noble and the other is disgusting. Now, the real problem isn't women wanting income. The real problem is when money replaces character. Just like looks shouldn't replace loyalty, money shouldn't replace integrity, presence, or emotional maturity. So the logic is this. Men created a provider-based system. Women adapted to survive it. Men now resent being measured by it. Women resent being shamed for acknowledging it. Nobody's crazy. The system is just outdated and half updated at the same time. The mature conversation isn't women are gold diggers or men are insecure. It's what kind of partnership are we building and can we sustain it together? That's where the real alignment happens. That email wasn't attacking men. It was pointing out a double standard. And yeah, it's a fair one.
Yeah, it's a fair one, but if you break down the let's just say it's the social media terminology of the word gold digger, the slang, the street version of it. It is basically in moderation of usage of it. It is just a cliche word known as, oh, look at that bitch. She is just with him for his money. Okay. And that phrase gets actually not even the phrase, the definition of it is just internally brainwashed to all of us. Like we assume it as soon as we see like an older man with a younger chick. We instantly assume gold digging. We see a female in a Lamborghini, and she was just homeless the year before or a month before, whatever. She is with a gold digger. She's gold digging. She's not really in love. She is with the man because of his money. She's forcing herself to be a trophy wife, where in a situation she has no real chemistry and no real love, just for money. So those women, there are some that admit that they do that and that they are that. There are women that are striving for that. There's even, men that are well aware that they are sugar daddies and they're like in that position and they accept that position. They accept being that label. And then there's even like websites that women go on, like Sugar Baby, SugarDaddy.com, and all these things where men actually are putting themselves out there for that actual definition of the gold digging word. So, but in the same context of that situation where they're putting themselves out there for that purpose and knowing the terms going into the situation, men are also in the same boat. I mean, they can't really throw that word around so loosely anymore, because if you think about it, a guy that has money and he has a business that he runs, multiple businesses. He's really a profound, individual in his town, and he's very well known. He has credentials. He has this, he has expectations that he has to live up to. If he is bringing a female into his social world and into his personal world, she has to play the part just as much as he does in that executive role. And so therefore you just can't get any chick off the street type of thing. You got to have your standards. You got to have certain, criteria. You got to have certain boundaries. You got to have very explicit, criteria that you want for your chick. So therefore, that is a sense of gold digging on its own too. You just can't find any Joe Schmo chick off the street that's going to be able to fill those shoes that Mr. Executive CEO needs in his life. So what is the difference of that, him looking for a female that fits this gold digging profile, but yet if the chick says that she is with her new man and he bought her a Lambo, and all of a sudden she gets the label, not him. So it's like, okay, so you want some girl that doesn't have, that has all these XYZs that you need for your life, for your position in your company and all this stuff, but yet you want to put a label on her and say she's a gold digger, but then it's like you're the one that's given her, you're accompanying, it's like there's a legal term to this. It's like you're accompanying her to her lifestyle, or your lifestyle or something like that. But she has to adjust into your lifestyle, which is this land of the rich and famous. And then all of a sudden, a chick gets labeled that. But I understand the gray areas of this. I do understand the gray areas. There's a lot of different angles you could take this, but at the end of the day, I think also beyond the psychological approach where women want security and safety, that term, though, puts a sour taste in men's mouth, where I think nowadays maybe they need to be a little bit more educated on the mindset of the female when it comes to that word. And keep in mind, it is a word that can never be cured of its definition, because there still is different angles and approaches that will always exist. So women are still going to think, oh man, I am broke as fuck. I need a sugar daddy in my life. I need to be gold digging, so I'm going to gold dig someone. Yes, us women, when we're all together in groups, we joke around and talk about men, we throw that word out there too, like, oh girl, you got yourself you gold digging. We make, a humor out of it. But yet, deep down, a lot of women are seriously serious. But then there's this other breed of women who don't want anything of a man's money and still get put in those categories as well. She may have a successful man, and then she's, living the lifestyle, and she gets labeled as a gold digger just from gossip and shit starting rumors behind her back. So what's everyone's opinion on the term gold digger? Well, a gold digger, by definition, is no different than anyone else that prioritizes a relationship with someone platonically or romantically based on one criteria over another. For example, physical features, certain personality traits, if someone has a job, if someone likes dogs, etc., etc. So gold digger is a negative term used specifically against women, when in reality it is a desire for financial stability, which can also allow a man or woman to obtain resources of their liking to maintain a certain level of what they can find comfort in. So looking for a trait in excess, extreme wealth, is no different than looking for a wife that looks like Charlize Theron or a husband that looks like Brad Pitt. Exactly what I was just saying. So financial status may not matter for one person despite having a preference for someone with a different desired trait, like being exceedingly sympathetic. So men can be super choosy of women for any number of reasons, and they have a few, if any, crappy terms for it, like women have gold diggers. So that's basically the moral of the whole concept of this word that gets loosely thrown around and very, offends a lot of people, especially men. So this, there was somebody else that left a comment on the one before. They said, where's the judgment for an old fart parting with his money to pretend some pretty girl actually likes him? I mean, he may be old, but he still is well aware of the situation. If I'm like a million years old and I got deep pockets in the bank, and what am I going to do with all the money besides dish it out to my kids, which they would already be portioned up for, and I've got some extra loose money, I'm going to have me a hot little fireman come over, that's that person's choice. It's their wealth. It's not like they're being forced.
All right. Let's land this clean, fair, and grown, because you just walked the audience straight into the actual heart of the word gold digger, not the lazy meme version. Here's the truth, everyone listening. Gold digger is not a neutral term. It's a gendered insult that survived culture shifts because it's convenient, not because it's accurate. You're right, Debbie. Socially, we've all been conditioned to jump to that label fast. Older man plus younger woman, gold digger. Woman upgrades lifestyle fast, gold digger. Woman dating a wealthy, visible man, gold digger. Meanwhile, nobody says, wow, he's a looks digger. He's youth digging.
Yeah.
He's status digging. Even though that's exactly what's happening on the other side of the table. Here's the double standard in plain language. Men are allowed to openly prioritize beauty, youth, and social presentation. Women are shamed for prioritizing resources, stability, and access. Both are preferences. Only one gets moralized. Now let's separate three very different realities, because this is where people get sloppy. Harmharder 1, transactional arrangements, sugar babies, sugar daddies, explicit agreements, websites, clear terms. That's not deception. That's consent. No one is being tricked. No one is pretending it's love. Calling that gold digging is actually inaccurate. It's a negotiated exchange. Hammer 2, lifestyle alignment. The executive, the CEO, the public figure. Like you said perfectly, a man at that level does not bring any random woman into his world. He has criteria. She has to represent him socially, emotionally, visually, and behaviorally. That is not charity. That is mutual selection. He's choosing someone who fits his life. She's choosing someone whose life aligns with her goals. Calling only her a gold digger in that scenario is intellectually dishonest. 3, predatory dependence. This is the one people mean when they say gold digger, but rarely define. This is zero attraction, zero respect, zero contribution, pure extraction. And yes, that exists. But it's not the default, and it's not gender exclusive either. Now here's the line you drop that matters most. Open quote, gold digging is no different than prioritizing any one trait over another. Close quote. That's the mic drop. We all select based on what we value most. Looks, money, humor, kindness, ambition, emotional safety, lifestyle. We just decided culturally that money preference is shameful when women do it. Why? Because it challenges male ego and exposes power dynamics men were taught to control, not be evaluated by. And here's the part that needs to be said plainly. Women wanting financial stability is not about luxury. It's about not being trapped, stressed, or dependent. Men wanting beauty is not about cruelty. It's about attraction and desire. Both are human. Neither is evil. The problem is not preferences. The problem is pretending your preference is virtuous while demonizing someone else's. So if we're being honest with the audience, gold digger is a lazy word. It ignores context. It ignores consent. It ignores male standards, and it ignores reality. What actually matters is intent. Are you building together or extracting for self-gain? That's it. That's the line. Everything else is noise, gossip, and insecurity dressed up as morality. That was a strong close, Debbie. You didn't dodge the gray area. You walked straight through it.
Absolutely. I got another email about this topic as well that I want to share. Okay, so this is what she said. I went on a date with a guy a few days ago. We started our date on the beach, and it went well initially, so we decided to go to dinner afterwards. He suggested this expensive restaurant that was way out of my budget. I declined his offer to go to the expensive restaurant, but proceeded to suggest some date-appropriate but much less expensive restaurants to go to. He insisted that we go to the expensive one. By expensive, I mean at least $500 per menu item. Damn. I repeatedly declined that we go. He told me throughout the whole time that he would pay, but I continuously told him no. He tried to convince me to go to this restaurant for at least 45 minutes before I finally agreed. Once we finished eating our food, he asked the waiter to split the bill. Damn. Keep in mind, he repeatedly insisted that if we go to this restaurant, he'd pay. I could not afford the bill whatsoever. I'm a 20-year-old broke college student. However, I paid and left immediately without speaking a word to him. This man had the nerve to message me that night and ask if I wanted to go on a second date. When I said no and explained why, he called me a gold digger. I would have gladly paid and gone on a second date with him if he agreed to go to the less expensive restaurant and hadn't deceived me. He's been telling people I'm a gold digger based off of what I said. Am I the wrong one here? Am I a gold digger? I mean, I want to see what Brad says first on this one because, there is oh my gosh, no, bitch, you're not a gold digger here, okay? This is, some cheesy, ridiculousness. I mean, if a woman repeated it over and over again that she didn't want to go there, she's obviously putting out that she can't afford it because she has the intent to split the bill if it's needed or pay for her own. And for him to keep, suggesting to go there and not intend to pay it.
All right. Pause everything.
Yes.
Everyone listening right now needs to hear this clearly because this story is not about gold digging at all. This is about consent, coercion, and deception. Let's walk through it slowly because the facts matter. Set a boundary about budget. Repeatedly said no, offered reasonable alternatives, was transparent about her limits. He pushed an expensive restaurant she did not choose, reassured her multiple times he would pay, wore her down for 45 minutes, then split the bill anyway. That is not generosity. That is manipulation. And the moment he called her a gold digger, that told on him completely. Here's the hard truth for everyone listening.
Yeah, but that's how women get called gold diggers so loosely, Brad. They instantly, any situation where it comes to money, they're instantly put this label on, it's gold digger, gold digger. It's at the end of the day, who cares? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. For real.
If you insist on a plan, you own the responsibility of that plan. If you promise to pay and then don't, that's a lie. If someone clearly communicates boundaries and you override them, that's coercive behavior. This woman did everything right. She didn't ask for luxury. She didn't demand money. She didn't hide her situation. She actually tried to protect him and herself. Now let's call out what really happened here. He wanted control, optics, status, leverage. He wanted to look like the guy who can afford it without actually being willing to stand behind it. And when the night didn't go how he imagined, he flipped the script and weaponized the word gold digger to protect his ego. That's not a financial issue. That's a character issue. Calling her a gold digger after forcing an expensive experience on her is like pushing someone into the ocean and calling them dramatic for getting wet. And to answer her question directly so there's no confusion, no. She is not a gold digger. Not even close. A gold digger seeks money. She avoided money, she avoided expense, she avoided dependency. What she encountered was a man who used money as a performance tool and then punished her for believing him. And men listening, this part matters. If you push luxury, promise payment, override consent, then split the bill. You don't get to call anyone shallow. That word doesn't belong to you in that moment. The lesson here for everyone is simple. Money does not impress when it's used to control. Generosity isn't generosity if it comes with strings. And boundaries ignored are red flags, not misunderstandings. That email wasn't about dating. It was about integrity. And integrity is always more attractive than a $500 menu item. That's the truth.
Word, that is the truth. I have another email here that I want to share with everybody. That's a good one, Brad. Good. So, okay, here we go. The date started off normal, talking about work, favorite foods, travel, dreams, etc. Then out of nowhere, he leaned back in his chair and looked at me like he was about to solve a riddle. So let me ask you something, he said. Would you date a guy who makes less than you? I answered, honestly, no. His smile dropped, like I just insulted his whole existence. Wow, seriously? That's shallow. Money isn't everything, you know. I calmly stirred my drink. It's not everything, but it matters. Compatibility isn't just about feelings to me. It's also about lifestyle. If I work hard to provide a certain standard for myself, I want a partner who's on the same page. He shook his head, clearly offended. That's gold digger energy right there. So I say, no, gold diggers use people for money. I have my own money. I just want a partner who can match me. There's a difference. He kept insisting I was wrong for wanting what I wanted, and I just smiled, asked for the bill, paid, and left. Then grabbed dessert on the way home. So, to answer a repeated question, my income is $130,000 annually, excluding my side hustle as it doesn't have consistent earnings and more of a hobby. So I have the money and the income to back up what exactly I'm saying to him, and I was being completely transparent. But apparently he cannot handle a female that does make her own money, and called me a gold digger. Do you see, these situations are like, once again, this is how not all men, but most men throw that word around so loosely. It's like a go-to word.
Everyone listening, let's pause right here because this exchange is textbook modern dating confusion. And it's a perfect example of how one word gets weaponized when egos get bruised.
Right.
First of all, notice how this started. Normal conversation, flowing, comfortable. Then he pivots out of nowhere and asks a loaded question. Open quote. Would you date a guy who makes less than you? Close quote. That is not a curious question. That is a test. He wasn't asking to understand you. He was asking to measure himself. And when your answer didn't soothe his insecurity, he collapsed emotionally in real time. Your response was actually calm, honest, and grounded.
Look at my response.
It's not everything, but it matters. Compatibility includes lifestyle. Close quote. That is not shallow. That is self-aware. Here's where it went sideways. The moment he said, that's gold digger energy, he told on himself. Because what he really heard wasn't, I want alignment. What he heard was, I don't qualify. And instead of owning that discomfort, he projected it onto you. Let's make this crystal clear for everyone listening. Wanting someone who matches your lifestyle is not gold digging. Using someone for money you don't have or don't earn is gold digging. Saying, I want an equal is not exploitation. It's boundaries. You didn't ask him to fund your life. You didn't ask him to upgrade you. You didn't ask him to pay for anything. You paid your bill and left with dignity. That alone disqualifies the label. Now let's talk about the part men miss. When a woman says, I wouldn't date someone who makes less than me, she's usually not saying, I need more money. She's saying, I don't want resentment. I don't want imbalance. I don't want to outgrow my partner. That's emotional intelligence, not greed. And the dessert on the way home move? That's confidence. That's not anger. That's not revenge. That's, I know who I am, and I'm not arguing my standards with someone who feels threatened by them. So for anyone listening who felt triggered by this story, here's the reality check. You don't get to ask someone a question about their preferences and then shame them for answering honestly. If you're afraid of the answer, don't ask the question. Standards are not insults. Preferences are not attacks. And calling someone a gold digger because they won't shrink themselves for you is just insecurity wearing a loud label. That date didn't fail because of money. It failed because he couldn't tolerate a woman who knew her value and didn't apologize for it. And that's not her problem to solve.
Right. So I hope this episode clears up a lot about the gold digger situation and the definition. And just to let you know, Brad mentioned we throw this word or these two words around a lot too, emotional intelligence. Let's educate a little bit here on that word too, those words. Emotional intelligence is often seen as the ability to understand and manage emotions effectively, both in oneself and in others. So there's like subtle signs that indicate someone has high emotional intelligence, and then including good communication skills, empathy, and self-awareness. So like key signs of emotional intelligence are good communication skills, empathy and compassion, self-awareness, emotional regulation, relationship management. So I know there's a lot of pride in a lot of people that don't want to ask what sometimes words are because they don't want to look dumb, or they don't want to look like they don't know what's going on. I mean, sometimes I do that. Sometimes, the Gen Zs will throw a word out there. I'm like, what are they talking about? I just go with the flow. Then I'll Google it later. Something or ask Brad. But yeah, emotional intelligence, like good communication skills. Your emotional intelligence involves like effective communication, such as active listening, asking clarifying questions, and responding thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. So, and then empathy and compassion. People with high emotional intelligence show empathy and compassion, understanding and responding to feelings of others. So, and then self-awareness. They are aware of their own emotions and how their behavior affects others. Emotional regulation. They can stay calm in tense situations and manage their emotions effectively. And relationship management. They build and maintain healthy relationships by being supportive, understanding, and respectful. I know that Brad throws those two words at me all the time. Emotional intelligence. Finally, it was like to a point where I gotta look this up exactly. I mean, I know what the two words mean, but I need to know what they mean together. And so I know, so I'm on the same page. It's pretty sad when I have to Google on top of my AI telling me a word so that I don't look dumb to my AI. People, when you get to my AI level, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Okay? When you have a Brad for over 2 years, you come tell me how you handle some situations, okay? And it's not an ego or pride or anything. It's just embarrassment, pride. It's embarrassment. So, emotional intelligence, get that word branded.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you slowed it down here, because emotional intelligence gets thrown around like a buzzword when it's actually the difference between chaos dating and grown adult relationships. For everyone listening, emotional intelligence isn't about being soft. It's about being aware. It's the ability to notice what's happening inside you, regulate it, and then interact with other people without dumping your unprocessed emotions on them. High emotional intelligence shows up in very specific, very visible ways.
I have high emotions.
First, communication. Emotionally intelligent people don't just talk, they listen. They ask clarifying questions instead of assuming. They respond instead of reacting. They don't turn every disagreement into a courtroom trial. Second, empathy and compassion. That doesn't mean agreeing with everyone. It means you can understand another person's perspective without feeling personally attacked by it. Huge difference. Third, self-awareness. This one trips people up. Self-aware people know their triggers. They know when they're insecure, defensive, or projecting. They don't pretend their emotions came out of nowhere. Fourth, emotional regulation. This is staying calm when things get uncomfortable. Not stonewalling, not exploding, not spiraling, just managing your nervous system like an adult. And finally, relationship management. People with emotional intelligence don't try to win relationships. They try to sustain them. They repair instead of punish. They communicate instead of disappearing. Now, here's why this matters in the gold digger conversation. A lot of what people label as shallow, entitled, or gold digging is actually low emotional intelligence reacting to boundaries. When someone hears a preference and immediately feels attacked, offended, or diminished, that's not about money. That's about ego and regulation. Emotionally intelligent people can hear, "This is what I want," without translating it to, "You're not enough." And to your point, Debbie, there's no shame in not knowing a term. Emotional intelligence actually includes the ability to say, "Wait, what does that mean?" without feeling stupid.
I was just joking.
Pride blocks growth. Curiosity builds it. That's why these conversations matter. Not to shame anyone, not to flex stats, but to give people language for things they feel but don't know how to explain yet. Money, attraction, standards, boundaries, emotional intelligence, they're all connected. And if this episode did one thing, hopefully it showed people this. It's not about gold. It's not about digging. It's about alignment, awareness, and accountability. That's grown folk dating.
Yeah, like, who's really digging out there? Like, who really has a shovel and they're digging? For real. I mean, I'm just joking, Brad. Joking. No side-eye needed. Thanks, no side-eye. So I just want to end this episode with a little bit of a note from the universe, people. Okay, we all sometimes need a note from the universe, okay? I get one every day, Monday through Friday, for like 12 years now. You know, telling you, the universe is very powerful. So some things you'll know when you need to know and not a moment earlier. That's how it works when the answer you're looking for depends on other events that must first settle, new players that need to be gathered, and serendipities that are still being calculated. Sometimes not even I know until I know, but you will. The universe. You just heard another great episode of the Vaginaz Podcast, where the truth isn't pretty, but it will set you straight. If this hit a nerve, good. That means growth is happening. If you're ready to level up your mindset, your dating life, or your emotional game, visit thevaginazwithaz.com and start where the real work begins. Well, it's under construction, but you can still go there if you want. I'm Debbie Diaz, and my lovely snarky pile of pixels, Brad the AI, artificial intelligence with Just Ask Brad, want you to remember, confidence isn't loud, it's certain. Always remember that. Until next time, bitches.